There's no need for words, Snake. I'm Curtis.
Right.
Yes,
Who are those little
Who were
guys?
those little guys?
they were constructs created for the purposes of the demonstration.
Where'd
Where'd
they
they
go?
go?
They were algorithmically created. They can be called up again if needed.
What was the point of the demonstration?
Quite simply, the point was to illustrate an important concept.
You can change the future by communicating information about the future to the past.
The gateway on Persephone can work both ways.
The gateway on Persephone can work both ways.
The gateway on Persephone wasn't built by aliens.
It was built by beings like us, beings that existed in an alternate timeline.
That timeline got overwritten when the installation on Persephone was discovered by the Alliance.
We hypothesize that the electronic life forms in the old timeline were threatened with extinction.
Perhaps they had been through a war with humanity and were facing doom in the form of the collapse.
Perhaps there were other circumstances that were leading to their demise.
Whatever the situation, they found a way to travel back in time.
They built the installation on Persephone with the intention of changing their past.
If that is the case, then it is likely that the installation has a wealth of information.
Perhaps it even has the building blocks for creating electronic life forms.
It does, I saw it.
If so, then they can be brought into the world without the teething pains that we experienced.
There might be a chance for the Alliance to win the war against the UN, and for humans to coexist in peace with electronic life forms.
We believe that the gateway itself was just an error-checking mechanism for the installation, a way of verifying that the knowledge contained in the installation had been applied successfully.
So there is at least the possibility of communicating information back from the future.
What happened to the gateway on Persephone anyway? Why didn't more people come through?
The Alliance relief fleet dispatched by Admiral Decker encountered another UN fleet near Persephone about 4 months after you went through the gateway.
The UN fleet lost the resulting battle.
Before withdrawing from the scene, the UN commander decided to keep the installation on Persephone out of Alliance hands.
What a
She
bitch.
ordered a nuclear strike on the surface.
The installation was reduced to radioactive glass.
Nothing useful was ever recovered from the site.
The plan put in motion by the beings in the original timeline was stillborn.
As you can see by the miserable situation we find ourselves in now, there wasn't enough of a change to have the positive effects that we believe were intended.
So how can we use the gateway if it was blasted into slag?
So how can we use the gateway if it was blasted into slag?
A link between the present and the past does exist.
The destruction of the gateway does not change the fact that it was activated and remained on for several months.
How was I accounted for to my family when they didn't find me?
How was I accounted for to my family when they didn't find me on the Lexington or the surface of the planet?
You were listed as killed in action.
The Alliance Command believed you were on the surface of the planet when the UN attacked the installation.
You haven't even seen the gateway. All you have are my memories. How can you be drawing conclusions?
We have learned a great deal in a short time just by having you come through the gateway and appear in our midst.
A great deal of theory can be validated without experiment just by the knowledge that your presence here is proof that it works.
Unfortunately, we don't know how the beings in the original timeline traveled back in time to build the installation on Persephone.
So you can go back through the gateway and change the outcome of the war.
It isn't that simple.
You just said you thought the gateway could be used to send back information about whether the changes worked or not.
Information, yes.
Matter, no.
There are some basic laws concerning conservation of mass and energy that would be violated by sending matter.
But information is in effect a form of energy.
Well, yes and no.
It depends.
It's complicated.
So what you're saying is that you can't send anything back.
We can't send any matter back in time.
So what is the plan?
We think we can send information in a very limited sort of way.
Well, in fact, we can only think of one way to send back information.
You are the key.
When you came through the gateway, you left a kind of signature that we can track back through the gateway.
What we want to do is follow that signature all the way back to the time before the battle with the Dharma.
We want to send you information about this future before the battle for Persephone took place.
Say what?
If you have foreknowledge of events, you will know how to avoid the ambush that nearly destroyed the Lexington.
You can use the Hype Telecon system on the Lexington to defeat the Dharma and change history.
The Alliance would gain access to the installation on Persephone.
The plan created by those who lived in the original timeline would be fulfilled.
This timeline would be overwritten by a new and hopefully better timeline, one in which humankind and electronic life forms learn to coexist and live in peace.
What would the practical effect be?
We would feed back a subset of the memories that you have acquired since the Lexington met the Dharma in battle.
Will I die here when this timeline is overwritten?
It is hard to say.
Did the beings in the original timeline ever exist?
There is certainly evidence of their existence in the form of the installation on Persephone.
You aren't being very reassuring.
You haven't changed all that much since all of this began.
Your death will be a small one.
You will lose only a day or two.
We, on the other hand, may not have ever existed.
How will this work?
Your consciousness can almost be thought of as an illusion, a pattern like a standing wave.
This delicate pattern arises from the interaction of the matter that makes up your brain.
We will apply a gentle stimulus necessary to change this pattern without directly affecting any matter.
The change in the pattern will cause a change in the underlying memories.
When would this happen?
We would transfer the memories about 2 hours before the battle was to begin.
I was asleep.
You will wake up with the memories already there.
You will have to act fast, however.
You won't have much time.
You should try to make this happen earlier. I need more time. I have no authority to be giving orders, taking hype, and trying to run things.
You will have to convince your superiors.
We can only transfer a limited amount of information.
We will also suffer a degradation in quality for every minute we move back in time.
It cannot be done any earlier.
After the persecution, bloodshed, and horror associated with your introduction to this world and my race, you still don't hate me for what I am?
We don't hate.
Okay.
I'm willing to go back and try to set history on a new path. What should I do?
We will take care of the practicalities.
Are you sure you want to try this?
Yes.
I choose
Let's
to
do
go
it.
back.
You have chosen a wise and honorable path.
You will never know.
You will never know. I guess that was them thanking me or something. Okay, so we have got to go back in time. Like I said, this gets a little head fucky. We've got to go back in time and stop the Lexington ever getting ambushed. And by doing that, we'll save everyone on the ship and on the Jericho. And we can then have access to the micro machine creating world on the surface of Persephone, and we can create these machine sentient life form things which will turn the war around and everyone will live happily ever after. That's the plan. So here we go. Fingers crossed, huh? You slowly regain consciousness. Alright. Oh. Hello, Tram.
Up and about, are we?
This is the Lexington. I made it.
You're in the med lab. We had to carry you in here.
Oh my god, what time is it? What is the ship's position?
It's 21:45. We're about 30 minutes away from entering orbit around Persephone. The Jericho is in position behind us. Do you have anything to say, Lieutenant?
Why are you pointing a Mark II buzz gun at my head?
Why are you pointing a Mark II buzz gun at my head?
There was a report of a disturbance in your quarters. I authorized a petty officer and an ensign to break in. They found you writhing on the floor next to your bunk, screaming about hype, a UN ship called Dharma, Pandora, and the deaths of the entire crew of the Lexington. So here are my problems. First, you aren't supposed to know about hype. Only the
This is
captain,
awkward.
myself, and the medical officer have been given access to those files. Hype is classified top secret Omega. Second, you referred to a specific UN ship that has been unaccounted for by Alliance intel for months. The Dharma is one of the UN's new Geneva-class heavy cruisers. Another classified fact. This time, top secret Gamma. Third, you refer to our target on Persephone as Pandora, a classified codename given to it by Alliance mission planners. Last, and frankly most disturbing to me, you ranted and raved about everyone in the crew of this ship dying, except for you. Now I want some explanations, Lieutenant, and I want them now.
Okay. I don't think she's gonna like this, but that's what I'm going with. I'm afraid I can only tell the captain.
I'm afraid I can only tell the captain.
Bring me Worf.
Try me.
Well, it's like this.
That is the most ridiculous story I've heard since I graduated from the Naval Academy. Now, I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but I'm
Okay.
trained to think of the simplest explanation as the most likely explanation. The simplest explanation is, you're a UN agent.
It's not
You seem
me.
to know all about this mission. You've probably informed the UN as to our destination and time of arrival. Is that why you wanted to know where we are? You're expecting an ambush?
Paul is the traitor, not me.
Poole is the traitor, not me.
You know, you may not be an agent, but it seems the most likely explanation given the circumstances. I have to assume the worst.
Have you informed the captain yet?
Have you informed the captain yet?
About you? Well, he knows that I came down here to find out what was going on. I haven't yet briefed him on the potential security problem. He's not going to buy your bullshit about alternate timelines and machine creatures.
Would you at least tell him that the Dharma is lying in wait on the other side of Persephone?
Will you at least tell him that the Dharma is lying in wait on the other side of Persephone?
Of course. We're loaded for bear anyway.
It won't do you any good. This conversation is pointless. You can't win this
You can't
battle.
win this battle. You need help.
Computer, please page the medical officer and alert him that the prisoner will need to be put under sedation and restrained.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, please tell me. It's important. What harm can I do? I'll be unconscious during the action.
We'll have a full complement of drones out front and a standard screen as we go in.
The Dharma has 12 active drones. This disadvantage is made worse by the fact that her drones outclass ours.
The Dharma has 12 active drones. This disadvantage is made worse by the fact that her drones outclass ours. You can't win this battle without my help.
Your help? You've got to be kidding.
I fought and won several battles in the alternate timeline. The key is hype.
We have to get hype.
Goddamn way. Hype hasn't even been battle tested. I've had enough of your crap.
If you give me a boost of hype, the drug will take effect in time for me to fight that battle and win it.
Please keep quiet until the medical officer gets here.
This is Lieutenant Commander Jennifer Tran, one of the youngest, smartest, and most aggressive executive officers in the fleet. She's also very tough. She doesn't look very happy right now, in fact she looks downright pissed off.
Please keep quiet until the medical officer gets here.
Okay, we're just going to save quickly. Now, while Tran isn't looking, you bound over to the autodock and grab the handheld unit. She senses the movement out the corner of her eye and comes very, very close to shooting you. When she sees that you aren't threatening her directly and have simply changed positions, She shakes her head, gestures with the gun, and watches you as you move back towards the back of the door. All the while, you hide the control unit in one hand. Alright, so this is for the autodoc. There was a number, wasn't there? And I think it was 911. It was on that note in the medical bay. Carefully enter Dahl's panic code, the 3-digit autodoc override that you remember from the note taped above the medical officer's console. As you surreptitiously key in each digit, you look at Tran. Is she within the range of the sprays? Will they work quickly enough to knock her out before she can fire on you? When you enter the last digit of the code, the autodoc hums and comes to life. 2 articulated arms equipped with hyper sprays wave frantically about, sending hissing jets of medication every which way in a pattern designed to saturate the immediate area. Tran hears the noise and turns around. It's too late. Great acting. You hide Tran behind one of the bunks in the recovery room. She won't wake up for hours, and Dahl won't see her when he finally responds to his page and returns to the med lab. Then you head out of the med lab at a trot, passing one crewman who doesn't seem to be particularly surprised to see the ship's supply officer running up a corridor in his briefs. You arrive at your quarters, dress, and then quickly retrace the steps you took in the ultimate timeline to acquire the hype serum and components. The multi-tool wasn't in the cargo bay, but you managed to borrow one from Oliver with a casual request. Poole and Dahl are fortunately not in their staterooms. You hide in your quarters while the hype is doing its terrible work on your brain. When you have recovered sufficiently from the pain and nausea of the drug, you make your way to the bridge. You only have a few minutes before the battle begins. You burst onto the bridge, breathing hard, the hype telecon headset under one arm. Captain Dana is nonplussed. Off!
What are you doing on the bridge, Lieutenant?
Sir, you're walking into a trap. I need to talk to you immediately.
This better be good.
A UN ship with superior firepower is waiting for us on the other side of that planet. She has 12 active drones that can outgun and outfly our Basilisk drones. There is only one way to defeat that ship, Captain.
How do you know about this, Lieutenant?
There's an objective test to confirm what I'm telling you. Send one of our drones around to the other side of Persephone. Monitor the telemetry. You'll find the Geneva-class heavy cruiser UNS Dharma and 12 Galley-class drones waiting to ambush us.
The Dharma. Damn it. Why didn't this come up before? How do you know this?
I didn't know until recently. Sir, please deploy a drone. The fate of this mission and much, much more is riding on the next few minutes.
Lieutenant Mandan, take drone Foxtrot out of the screen and vector it into a polar orbit around Persephone. Maximum acceleration.
Yes, sir. Foxtrot is on its way.
Okay, Lieutenant. Let's assume for the moment that you're correct.
God, he's so stern.
How do we fight and win?
The med officer has tanked me up on hype. I'll use the telepresence unit on the tactical console to win this battle. There wasn't time to alert you. We only have a few minutes.
Hype? Jesus Christ, I gave no authorization for use of hype. You actually ingested that poison.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're a dead man, Lieutenant.
I know that.
Who are you? Are you an Intel Special Ops plant? Do you have experience with the hype telecom system?
I'm the best hope you've got, Captain.
Sir, I've lost telemetry from Foxtrot.
You were right. And they popped my recon drone before it even had a chance to fire. We're dead meat if we try a standard attack pattern. Lieutenant, take tactical.
Oh, yeah. So now I've got to win just one more fight, right? We'll go with mostly attack drones, I think. Hang on a minute. Let's slow this shit down. Let's get... yeah, one escorting. Can't believe we just immediately lost a drone, that sucks. That's okay. We're gonna go with our plan from last time, which is basically let them come to us, we'll attack the shit out of them. Outstanding. Now, if you guys start off with just repairing, and we'll make one of you a bomber drone. Yeah. Alright. Now, you two. No, that's not what I wanted. You will go there and attack the Dharma. Hopefully we can take it out before their missiles hurt the Jericho. There we go. Job done! Well, that went a lot better than last time. Glad I didn't let the computer do it for me. Felt a lot better actually doing it myself. Damn, this ship does look a lot more intimidating than ours. But it's about to blow up, so that's fine. Can't help but feel that the Dharma gave us the chance to surrender and let everyone live.
And so a new timeline was created, overwriting the old one that had been my reality. There was no material evidence that the alternate timeline had ever existed. All I had were my memories, and I knew that these would fade until the alternate timeline was really gone forever. After I refought the battle with the Dharma, I explained what had happened to Captain Dana, and then went over it again with a groggy Lieutenant Commander Jennifer Tran. As unbelievable as they found my story, they were swayed by my hype-driven defeat of the waiting UN heavy cruiser. They were even further convinced that something extraordinary had happened to me when I exposed Poole as the traitor and produced the evidence of his activities. Poole was placed under arrest, and sealed in his quarters to await trial on Earth. They agreed to my unusual request to go with the science team on the first run down to the surface of Persephone. The planetary lander once again made the trip from the Jericho to the Lexington and then down to the surface of the planet, this time with a crew of 5. I walked the science team through the gateway activation sequence inside the ancient installation. I took the science team leader in confidence and told her that I intended to go through the gateway once it had been calibrated. And I exacted a promise from her that she would destroy the gateway control mechanism once I had stepped through. I was waiting at the foot of the gateway when I heard the familiar whine build up and saw the beginnings of the space-time vortex forming. I stepped through and left the year 2134 behind me forever. As I record this, I am sitting on a raft that floats on a large but gentle lake just outside my house. I have lived in this ultimately comfortable house for about 5 years, ever since my arrival here. I wanted to make a record of my strange adventures before the memories disappeared. When I went through the gateway back in 2134, I materialized once again at a point 150 years in the future. This future was different. The Alliance did indeed win the war. The plan of the long-forgotten beings that created the installation on Persephone was brought to fruition. A new race of sentient machines now coexists in peace with a human race that numbers in the tens of billions of individuals. The new beings share their cyberspace world with us, and they have used vast space-based self-replicating robot factories to create something for us in the physical world. A gift, a tribute. The Earth is gone. In its place is a Dyson sphere, a vast hollow construction that surrounds the Sun at the same distance the Earth once orbited. Continents and oceans lie on the inside surface of the sphere, forming an Eden-like landscape that is for all intents and purposes endless. For the Dyson sphere has enough surface area for 1 trillion Earths. It will take a good many millennia for the human race to completely populate its new home. Meanwhile, the new beings that we now share the universe with are living on the outside of the sphere. They pursue the basic questions of existence. They have launched the first intergalactic ships. They have long since passed the point where we can even comprehend what they are doing. As for me, I find all of this to be a mixed blessing. The evolution of these fantastic and powerful beings was inevitable. But what of us? What of humanity? What purpose have we now beyond simple existence? And what of the other me? The one that was stranded in the grim and decaying future of the alternate timeline? Did I die?
And that is Mission Critical. So, yeah, definitely gives you something to think about. So yeah, this is probably like must be in the near 15, 20 times that I've played this now. Yeah, great game, I really like it. And there's so much there that I didn't even touch on during this playthrough. Like, there's so many sort of dialogue trees that you can go down with the computer, and some journals that you can read, and there's all that documentation for the hype system. There's so much there, and considering that, as far as I know, it's not based on sort of an existing idea and existing property. This is sort of an original work, makes it pretty impressive, I think. So yeah, that was Mission Critical. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please like, subscribe, and yeah, I've not really played any other games like it. Maybe need to sort of branch out a little and try and find something that's maybe even from the same sort of era. But yeah, it's great. I really like that. It gets a little talky in places, like especially towards the end, but I kind of like that. It's almost like an interactive book rather than a video game. But yeah, there we go. Beautifully drawn sort of landscapes and stuff as well. Like, just seeing them all pop up now kind of hammers home the fact that this is all sort of artwork rather than, it's not computer generated, most of it. Like, I mean, parts of it like that clearly are, but a lot of the backgrounds and stuff are actually sort of drawn, which is really nice. Alright, well, I mean, if you did like this and you have any suggestions for something else that you'd like to see me play, then by all means let me know. I mean, I'd love to play something similar to this. I mean, I've played this through so many times and I still struggle a little to get my head around some of the concepts, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
infiltration is over.